Latest Browns news. If you think this offseason has been smooth sailing for the Browns, it's because you haven't seen what's just come to light in the last few hours. Spencer Fano's signing almost didn't go down the way you might think, and the real story behind that draft night is something no one is talking about. Then there's Shedeur Sanders, who just got a harsh reality check from a guy who's played in 3 Super Bowls, and the words he used aren't pretty. And Cedric Tillman, his future in Cleveland became much more uncertain after the draft. Like this post because we're starting with the Cowboys story, and the details of what Andrew Berry turned down that night might really shock you. Alright, let's set the scene. Draft night, first round, and the Browns have already pulled off one deal, now swapping pick number 6 to Kansas City for number 9, landing Spencer Fano, the best offensive tackle in the class, and pocketing a 3rd and a 5th in the process. Cleveland saved $10 million on Fano's rookie deal. That's already a win, but then Dallas called. The Cowboys came in with a real offer. Give us number 9 and number 24, and we'll send you back number 12, number 20, and a 5th rounder. The goal, jump the Giants and get to Caleb Downs, the Ohio State safety that Dallas had circled on the board. It was a legitimate package. 2 first-round picks, an extra 5th, and Cleveland drops 15 spots total. Sounds tempting, right? Andrew Berry said no. And here's why that decision was actually smart. Think about what happens if Cleveland takes that deal. They're now sitting at number 12 with offensive tackle, still the biggest need on the board. But by that point, the Giants at number 10 had already grabbed Francis Mauigoa out of Miami, and the Dolphins, who Dallas eventually paid up to jump to number 11, took Alabama's Caden Proctor at number 12. That means Fano, the guy Cleveland actually wanted, could have been gone before Berry even got back to the podium. You don't trade down to miss your guy. That's how rebuilds go sideways. Now the other side of this, and this is the part that stings a little, is what Cleveland might have done with that number 20 pick, because Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC, went at number 20 to the Eagles after Dallas flipped the pick. The Steelers were literally on the phone with Lemon at number 21, ready to take him, and Philly swooped in and stole him. Had the Browns been sitting at 20 with a receiver need, things get interesting. Pittsburgh and Philly both knew Cleveland wanted a pass catcher. You could have had a full bidding war. Maybe flip 20 to Minnesota or Carolina, still land Casey Concepcion at 24, and walk away with extra capital. But here's the bottom line. Cleveland got Fano at 9 and Concepcion at 24. They followed that up with Denzel Boston and safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in round 2. That might be the best 2-round haul of any team in this entire draft. Sometimes the best trade is the one you don't make. Okay, but if you thought that Cowboys story was wild, what I'm about to tell you hits even closer to home, because it's about the guy who's supposed to lead this team at quarterback and a Super Bowl champion who just went on air and said exactly what a lot of people are afraid to say. Let's talk about the quarterback room, because it just got loud. Mark Schlereth, 3 Super Bowl rings, long career in the trenches, now a Fox Sports analyst, went on air and did not hold back. His take on the Browns QB competition: Deshaun Watson wins it, it's not close, and anyone who thinks differently is, in his words, delusional. Here's what he said straight up. The probability of Watson being better than Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel is 100%. That's not a hot take dressed up in numbers. That's a former champion flat out saying the rookie never proved himself when he had his shot, and Schlereth backed it up. Sanders started 7 games last year, and by the end of it, head coach Kevin Stefanski had essentially pulled the plug. Schlereth's point was clear. That wasn't personal, that was performance. Now Watson is back. He missed all of 2025 recovering from an Achilles tear that required 2 surgeries, which is brutal by any standard. He's 30 years old in the last year of his contract and competing against Sanders, Gabriel, and rookie Taylon Green for the starting job. His window to prove he can still be the guy is right now, and minicamp already gave him a head start. Cleveland.com's Mary Kay Cabot reported Watson was getting the majority of first-team reps and has the inside track on QB1 heading into the summer. In 3 years with the Browns, Watson has never started more than 7 games in a single season. 19 touchdowns, 12 picks, 19 appearances total. The sample size is small, but the clock is ticking loud. What Schlereth said that actually matters beyond the QB debate is this: the Browns roster around whoever starts is legitimately good. The offensive line got rebuilt from the ground up. Titus Howard from Houston, Zion Johnson from the Chargers, Elton Jenkins from Green Bay, and now Fano at left tackle. The receiving core added Conception and Boston. The defense was already one of the best in the league, with Myles Garrett and Carson Schwezinger anchoring it. Schlereth's words were blunt: get C+ quarterback play out of this roster, and Cleveland makes noise in the AFC North. That's not a low bar. That's a real statement about how well this team is built right now. Head coach Todd Monken wants a clearer picture after mandatory minicamp June 9th through 11. That's when things get real. Alright, we're not done yet, because while everyone was focused on the QB battle, something quietly happened with one of the receivers already on the roster that could signal exactly where this team is heading with its depth chart. Cedric Tillman might be looking at a pay cut, and honestly, after this draft, it makes total sense. Here's the setup. The Browns just reworked Dawan Jones's contract. He was set to earn a non-guaranteed $3.6 million in 2026, and Cleveland restructured it down to $1.5 million with just over $1.1 million guaranteed. It protects the team's cap flexibility while still giving Jones something real if he gets cut. Smart move, and ESPN's Browns reporter Daniel Oyefusi came out and said Tillman is almost certainly next in line for the same treatment. Why? Because Tillman is in the same boat. He's heading into year 4, was a 3rd-round pick in 2023, and has never been able to string together a fully healthy season. 14 games as a rookie, 11 in year 2, and just 13 last year after a hamstring injury slowed him down. He finished 2025 with 21 catches for 270 yards. That's a number that doesn't move the needle for a receiver who was drafted to be a real contributor. And then the Browns went out and used 2 top 40 picks on receivers. Casey Conception in the 1st round, Denzel Boston in the 2nd. The message from the front office couldn't be clearer. The receiver room is being rebuilt around younger, cheaper talent. Keeping Tillman at $3.6 million when you've got Conception, Boston, Jerry Jeudy, Isaiah Bond developing, and 3 new UDFAs coming in from LSU, Jackson State, and Baylor. That math doesn't work, but at $1.5 million, he becomes a low-risk depth option you can afford to keep around while the young guys develop. Boston put it simply when talking about his partnership with Conception: size, speed, red zone presence. They cover different bases. That's the future of this receiving core. Tillman's role in it just got a lot smaller. This Browns front office is making bold moves, but let's be real, cutting Tillman's salary, betting on Watson, and adding 2 rookie receivers is either genius or a disaster waiting to happen. So tell me, do you trust this rebuild? Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.